Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. Here are your hosts, Ryan Gerdes, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Recon Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show. We are your hosts. I'm Mike Weinstein alongside Justin Frederick and Ryan Gerdes. So I really want to get into some strategy today. And this is going to be strategies for not only buyers, but also sellers. There has been a lot of talk, a lot of misinformation, a lot of myths about what's going on with rates, what's going on with the market, what's going on with the recession, or if we're in a recession, how that impacts the real estate market. And one of the common things that I just get is, I don't want to buy today because the market's bad. And so as Ryan always says, well, walk me through it. What do you think? So we've come across some really interesting information. It is true. Metro Phoenix home sales are slowing. The amount of transactions are down. But what's interesting is home prices, contrary to what a lot of people believe, what a lot of people are hearing, home prices are still going up. The Phoenix area median home price inched up to $437,000 in October from $431,000 in September. So let's start, Ryan, with buyers. With this information, what are you advising buyers? What is the strategy to take advantage of this information?
So I also think that it's very seasonal. I think that you do have a couple more months where you are going to be able to get your hands on some good, decent deals. Because what's not in here, because I look at these numbers and then I'm like, okay, yeah, this is great. We've gone up, a point and a half in home values. But what I'm wondering is how much of that went towards concessions? Because I know we talk about it a lot as far as 3-2-1 buy downs, 2-1 buy downs, seller paid closing costs, etc. I'm wondering how much of that has played into this, because we've been able to strategically get sellers to pay for quite a bit, if not all, of our closing costs and all kinds of just fun different trimmings that buyers get to enjoy when they're dealing with sellers that might be a more motivational stage of selling. So I would say strategy number one, try to put as much money as you can right now towards your actual principal, and also see what we can't do about negotiating as much seller concessions as possible in order to do those rate buy downs and concessions. So for me, strategy number one, that's what I'm trying to do. If I have cash sitting in the bank, it's probably losing a little bit due to inflation. It's really not doing anything for me at 0.0005% interest on a whatever type of savings account you might have. So long as you have a good, steady form of income, whatever that may be, putting as much money towards principal as you can right now in order to minimize your exposure to the rates, because the rates, even though they're better, they're still high, right? And then strategy number two would be to really go after what your taxes look like. So if you have investment properties and you've been, using TurboTax, all these years, whatever, pay the extra couple bucks to really make sure that your tax situation is really looking solid, and that you're enjoying as much of those tax benefits as you possibly can. So those are the two things that I'm doing a lot right now in order to position our growth in our portfolio.
So Justin, what these numbers are telling me are what we've been telling everybody for the last couple months, that this means that a buyer is in a great position right now because of if the home sales are down, that means sellers are possibly feeling the pinch or feeling the pressure. And to Ryan's point, and are willing to provide a lot more in concessions. But it's also a warning to buyers that home prices are still going up. So don't wait for a market crash because it's not coming.
So what I like to say is right now you can get your cake and eat it too. It's a market where traditionally in these holiday seasons, we don't see increases in home values. I mean, other than the wild years of COVID and just the absolutely no inventory. But you can get a home, get all your closing costs paid. And what I got to say this too, what I love that you guys do is not only are you guys getting the concessions, but then on the HOA addendums, I always see your guys' contracts come through and you're having the sellers pay for a large portion of the HOAs, which don't even go against the concessions that we're able to use. And any, you guys always check that box.
Dude, oh my gosh, yes.
I don't know why. It's always left unchecked most of the time.
Yeah, so we'll digress here. So we have the situation. So
you got Mike excited.
Yeah. So here in Arizona, we have what is called the HOA addendum. And the seller is required to fill out page 1. And that is where the seller provides all the HOA information, including what the monthly HOA dues are, if there's any capital or impact improvements, transfer fees, disclosure fees, and so forth. The buyer is responsible for filling out box 3 or page 3, saying this is what I'm willing to pay for, this is what I'm wanting the seller to pay for. And oftentimes we find that the listing agent fills out page 3 anyways, which you can't.
Yeah.
And so what happens is a lot of times on page 1, they leave stuff blank because agents are lazy and they don't go out and get all the information. So there's a box on page 3 that says any undisclosed fees, who pays for it? And I just always pick the seller. And so we just had a situation where a week and a half ago at the closing table, the listing agent and seller go, well, we're not paying for these fees. I go, well, yeah, I checked the box and you signed it because you didn't disclose those fees on page 1. And so, yeah, that agent at the end of the day goes, yeah, it cost me $650, but, my bad.
So I would like you guys for 2024 to have a running tally of how much you guys have won just because of that box. I think it would be cool to do. But there is the opportunity out there for you to get appreciation on the property, get your closing costs paid for, and we're not talking about little amounts, not just the standard closing costs. We're using points to buy down rates that's paid for by the seller. So it's no money out of pocket for you. We're paying for people's HOA fees for up to a year in some cases. You guys are doing excellent work when it comes to getting those contracts in, but it's impressive. So that's why I say you can get your cake and eat it too, because market values are going up. It's a great buyer's market right now for those people. And what I want to say is, what are you waiting for? Rates are on their way down, so you can buy, refinance within the next 2 years at no lender fees, no appraisal fee, and you can get a property under market value and get your closing costs paid for.
Well, it's absolutely the difference between working with a typical real estate agent or realtor as opposed to working with one of us on our team as real estate wealth managers, because we bring all of these strategies to play. And Ryan and I have been doing it for so darn long, and our team's been doing it for so darn long, but we'd love to have that conversation with you. What's going on in the Phoenix real estate market may not be what you've been told, and we'd love to explain that to you. All you got to do is text the word Phoenix to 623-AZ-RECON. That's Phoenix to 623-AZ-RECON. Ryan, let's switch over to sellers. Again, Metro Phoenix home sales are slowing, but home prices are going up. Do I list?
So,
and if the answer is yes, what's my strategy?
Right, yeah, because I'm always going to boil back to what's our end goal here, because real estate is not a short game for me, and it shouldn't be for you either. So if you're in portfolio grow mode, then right now is not the time to sell. If you're in, hey, I need to liquidate, I need to find my final home, or I'm trying to just put less moving parts in my life, or whatever that scenario might be, then yeah, go ahead and let's put a for sale sign out there. And really one of the big questions I would be asking when you're deciding who you're going to hire to help represent you is, how are you going to work with appraisers, right? Because when anyone can put together a CMA. All right. I mean, you can go on to Zillow and get a Zestimate, right? And like it's just the value is in the eye of the beholder. But when you have somebody that really knows how to go over there, itemize value, itemize time, and itemize all those things that are above and beyond the shiny, pretty, hardware that's on the cabinetry, where you can say, hey, look, no, this has a roof that's 2 years old. We have a solar system that can create X amount of kilowatts. We have brand new plumbing. We have brand new electrical, or whatever those things are. Because a lot of those times they're not even looking at that. But then I can throw in there the fact that, hey, I know that it's a buyer's market. I know that you might see, Mr. and Mrs. Appraiser, that this has been on the market for 30 days, but I can still justify why we are being bullish with our number because the numbers are the numbers, and I can say, hey, look, over these past 30 days, I've gone up 0.5%. So rather than decreasing my price, I'm either going to hold steady or I might even increase based on what's going on with the numbers in your specific zip code, because that's how we break things down. And whenever I do submit those, it's based on what are these numbers saying for this specific area. And then I'm saying, all right, well, in this specific area, compared to this comp that sold 4 months ago, I'm able to justify a price for apples to apples at 2% higher.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head because I always get asked this question: is this the right time to buy, or is this a good time to sell, or is this a bad time to sell? And the answer is always yes, because it just depends on your motives and it depends on your needs. I mean, it depends on why you're selling. So it's always a good time to sell and it's always a bad time to sell, right? And so I say that because I think one of the caveats to this is I would tell sellers, if you are desperate and you're going to get yourself into a contingency situation and you're going to feel pressure to sell, then it's going to be an uncomfortable time for you. If you can be patient, because to me, yes, home sales are slowing, but home prices are going up. And so I would say if you put your house on the market, just be okay. Don't be afraid of days on market, because a good house is going to eventually sell. It's just probably going to take some time, but be encouraged that home prices are going up.
Yeah, and it's funny because we've been in home buy mode for years now, and even when the prices were soaring and at its quote unquote peak, we're like, no, it's still good to buy because you're getting free money, right? And we were still seeing upticks in values. And we're seeing massive upticks in rentals and so many things just working towards it, because it was still a hell of a lot more expensive to rent than it was to buy. Now it's a little bit different. So if we get to a point where we start seeing rates and everything just kind of staying at a constant, and we were to start seeing numbers like this, and I'd say, nope, this is when you buy. And then when we start seeing values at a lot higher, then we can know that, all right, we might see a little bit of a value change. That's when you sell. But that's not going to happen when we have 2.5% interest rates like we did during COVID. So that's the justification as to why we've been in buy mode for so long.
Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't have all the knowledge on the selling of the properties, but I feel like if I was looking to upgrade my home, I feel like this would be a good time to do it. And the reason why I say that, even if I'm getting rid of home number one to get home number two, if you're looking to move to, let's just say, an upgraded neighborhood where the location is in high demand and you're not having as much demand right now, well, that can help you tremendously. But when the market does start to turn, that home that's in the high demand area most likely is going to appreciate much faster than home number one if it's not in a super area for demand. So I think there's something there that you got to think about as well if you ever are looking to upgrade that home and you're looking for a specific neighborhood that you haven't been able to get into.
Well, and I would say this, because you brought up the phrase sell home number one to buy home number two. Before you put your house on the market, before you have those discussions, you want to text Phoenix to 623-AZ-RECON, because what we're going to do is we're going to show you options to possibly not selling home number one. How can you keep home number one in your real estate portfolio and still go out and buy home number two? And we recently had some clients that just closed on an incredible house out in Litchfield Greens. And it was just the discussion that we had with them when they first called us. And we went through the numbers. We took a look at the home that they were living in. They were thinking about selling. And after, going through all the numbers, our advice was keep it, put a renter in there. And now they moved into home number two, and now they have two homes in their real estate portfolio. And it's what we do as real estate wealth managers. It's part of our strategy sessions. We'd love to share that knowledge and share that information to you. All you got to do is text the word Phoenix to 623-AZ-RECON. That's Phoenix to 623-AZ-RECON.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want more information on how to build wealth, click on the link or text us at 623-297-3266. That's 623-AZ-RECON.